Welcome to the Weekly Thrive Report with me, Greg Eel, the Culture Change Agent. And I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been on the video and the recaps. I apologize. I've been out there in Boston. We dominated Harvard University. And if you want to recap on lessons learned, that whole experience, make sure you watch the previous YouTube video because I got all that good stuff. But today I want to talk about something urgent and something critical to my heart. Since I turned 28, every single year I have a theme. I have a theme that I want to grow into, a theme that I want to surround everything I do during the year. And this year, my theme is separation. 2017 was a phenomenal year for me. The podcast took everything went to a next level as far as with downloads, as far as with the tour, 7 states, over 500 people attending, launching the conference, working on another book, starting a media company. Like, this is stuff I couldn't even dreamed of when I started 2017, and now we're here. But with all that being said, there was still a lot of gaps. And I knew that there was something missing that was holding me back from taking it to the next level. And a lot of it is because there were certain things that I was not separating myself from. Certain conversations I was not separating myself from. Certain discussions, certain people, certain organizations, certain people that want everything but don't want to give anything. And I found myself in a weird place where I just had to make some decisions. And today I want to talk about 2 key ways how you can separate from the doubt, the fear, the confusion, the gaps that are holding you back. And the first thing I want to say is, number 1, you got to prioritize happiness. I say that because there were times in 2017 where I took gigs, I had discussions, I did stuff that was so draining to my core that I got no ROI. And I said it because I thought I owed somebody. I was like, man, I'm here now and I got to make sure anybody that asks me anything, especially if they did something, I got to make sure I do it. I got to make sure I'm at that event. I got to make sure I had that phone call. I got to make sure I drop everything and tend to everybody else's needs. But what that was doing was causing a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, a lot of stuff that I could not show because I'm a professional. And anything I do now, I bring 110, but I could not show that because I was held back. And I had to vow to myself in 2017 and beyond, I'm going to prioritize my own happiness. And that doesn't mean that I'm saying no to everything. That don't mean I'm a yes man. And that doesn't mean that I always have to be on cloud 9. But that what that does mean is I have to separate from some foolishness. I have to separate from saying yes all the time. I have to separate even stuff that I want to do out of principle. Some things I just cannot do going forward as far as from a business sake. And let me be crystal clear. That doesn't mean that going forward, there's certain things I won't do for free. I won't jump on a call. I won't be accessible. But there's certain things when you have to take the next level. There's a certain type of focus. There's a certain type of intensity. There's a certain type of environment that you have to put yourself around in order to take it to the next level. In 2018, I guarantee is going to be a ground changing year. Not just for me, for my company, for the culture where we live in Durham, North Carolina, and going beyond. And I cannot afford to be in cahoots with certain people, certain individuals, certain organizations. So I say out to say prioritize your own happiness. And number 2, and this is critical, and this is something that I struggle with, I continue to struggle with, and I'm growing it, is you got to respect responsibility. I understand now that as a host, as a speaker, on the platforms that I'm on right now, I have a responsibility in every single event to deliver a phenomenal message. Check mark. 9 times out of 10, we got you that. I also have responsibility to the community. Check mark, 9 out of 10, I have that. But I have a responsibility to myself to engage, empower, and stay energized with my craft and what I'm doing. And I think a lot of times we fall short in the responsibility keys because we're so focused on the rewards, right? On what steps we have to do to get X, on what steps we have to do to please do, for what steps we have to do to get this promotion, to get this job, to get this relationship, all this other stuff. But when we're so focused on the reward, there's so many responsibilities that we have to do in order to get it that we don't show enough measure to. And let me get real practical because I don't want to get too meta with it. Let me get practical. I know now that being that people are investing real big time money in certain things, speeches, whether it's coaching programs, podcasts, conferences, whatever, I have to guard my time viciously. I'm talking about, man, I might have my airplane mode from like 5 a.m. to maybe 7 p.m. every day, Monday through Saturday. And that means there's certain conversations that I used to be able to have last year that I can't have anymore. And it's not because I'm thinking I'm big time. It's not because I'm trying to be unreachable, inaccessible. But now I know as my responsibility has risen, the rewards are also rising, but also there's a whole nother level of focus that I have to have, and I can't have that if I'm constantly doing this, I'm constantly doing that, constantly answering this, constantly doing this that has no ROI, and I really don't know the clear focus or the clear goal. And when I realized the weight of that responsibility, that's when I said I had to make change. And a lot of times, the reason why y'all not sacrificing things, the reason why you have not separated from the things that hold you back, because you have not taken a full account of the responsibility that you have right now. You have a responsibility to the dreams that you have in your heart right now. Some of you have responsibility to your household. Some of you responsibility to your kids, your parents, whatever. But have you taken the time to write down what is the weight of that responsibility? And once I did that, I had to move a lot differently. So I know that was kind of morbid, but it's so real, man. So I hope that blessed somebody today. And now we're going to move on to the weekly review. So, great things that happened this week. One, sold a book in Ireland. I never been to Ireland. That was news to me. So I try to cherish the small wins. And I know last year we did some Australia, Puerto Rico, Bahamas, but now Ireland. So that's kind of huge. I know it's just one book, but that was huge to me. That was a milestone. So that was one great thing that happened. The second great thing that happened, like I said, dominated Harvard University, man. Had a great storytelling workshop. Man, it was so, man, matter of fact, no, just go watch the Harvard Review YouTube recap. And the last great thing that happened last week was I got a manager. So now I do not have to book my gigs myself. Somebody inquires, I don't see it, I don't get personal. When somebody says, oh, we don't have a budget, and I know they got a budget, or we don't do this, we don't do that. Like, I don't have to kind of, and when I say no, it's not me saying no, it's my person that's managing, doing all that good stuff. So that is a next step in my career, and I'm grateful and I'm blessed to have the opportunity to work with such a good individual. My one area for improvement is my health. The last 2 weeks in Boston, even before that, I just been eating like one time a day, and when I do eat, it's eating whatever. And shoot, I looked on the scale, I was 215. And I was like, and it wasn't a health, I just felt sluggish. My energy wasn't low, so it wasn't like I looked in the mirror like, oh, I don't got a six-pack no more. But I was more so like my energy and everything was well, so I said health has to be a focus, because I'm a big believer in seasons, and for certain seasons of my life, health wasn't a fact, it wasn't a focus because I was already good. But now, as I get older, I know y'all like, yo, you're only 28, dude, chill out. But as I get older, I really do have to take special consideration for my health, and that it will be a priority going forward. My one recommended book, tool, or resource is Miss Jessie's Creating a Successful Business from Scratch Naturally. When I tell you, when I first got this book, I was like, okay, cool. They're hairdressers, they made some things that sold on Target. It's probably about to be like a regular book, just showcasing the success, do the highlights. But when I tell you what's inside this book is actionable and applicable for any small business. And it gets real linear as far as their process on how they took a mom and pop recipe for hair and turned that into a distribution deal with Target and stores all across the country, a multi-million-dollar business out their basement in New York, a brownstone in New York rather. It's crazy. So like I said, Miss Jessie's Creating a Successful Business from Scratch Naturally is a phenomenal book written by Miko Branch and TT Branch. Rest in peace to TT Branch as well. My big takeaway from the weekend, I think I mentioned it earlier on when I kind of snapped on the separation piece, is stop playing small. Whatever environment you're in, you're supposed to be there. Own it. Act like it. If you feel like an imposter, your work will look like an imposter. Flat out. So I'm just telling you, stop playing small. Live bigger, be bigger, do bigger. My goal for next week is to visit 10 local businesses to inquire about sponsoring the Minority Trailblazer Conference. I know usually my goals are direct. I want to secure this, I want to secure that, but I don't really create any of my goals like that because I can't control the outcome. But what I can control, how much effort that I give to certain things. And I know doing X will result in X rather than me just looking for outcomes. So that is one of my goals. And my challenge to you, specifically, before we get off this video, is one thing only. I said it time and time again, but you need to let something go. I know I talked about separation. I know I've said it before, but you need to look in your life. I don't know if it's a job, career, relationship, clothes, shoes, car. I don't know what it is. And you sit down, reflect, and select one thing that you need to take away right now to block it from where you need to go. All right, so that's my time. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I guarantee I will be back Sunday, October 15th, I believe, for the next weekly Thrive Report. Thank you so much for all the love. Make sure you subscribe. And what else I got? I think that's it. All right. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl that I know. Billie Jean is not my son. I can't really do Mike. That was a bad interpretation, right?